Hey everyone, hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to another episode of Sound Design within Omnisphere, the ultimate software synthesizer for musicians and producers. In this video I will show you how to recreate one of the most iconic synth sounds, maybe of all time. This bass sequence that can be heard in iRobot by the Alan Parsons Project. iRobot is the second studio album by the British progressive rock band released in 1977. The album was inspired by the science fiction stories of Isaac Asimov, who explored the ethical and philosophical implications of artificial intelligence. Sort of history repeating itself maybe? Who knows? However, due to legal issues, the album's title and concept were slightly modified to avoid direct references to Asimov's work. The album was a huge success and it spawned several hit singles for the Alan Parsons Project. The bass sequence that we're going to recreate is one of the most distinctive features of the title track for the album iRobot. It is a simple yet dynamic sound that combines a sawtooth wave, a low pass filter, a bit of phaser, some delay, and importantly, the sequencer. The sound that we're trying to recreate fades in around the 1 minute 40 second mark of the title track and then continues throughout the song, creating hypnotic and futuristic atmosphere. I will leave a link to the original track in the description below so you can take a listen and compare it with the sound we're going to make. So, are you ready to learn how to make the amazing sound? Let's get started. First up is to make sure that Omnisphere is initialized to the default sound. This makes sure we are starting from a completely blank slate. You do this by going to the utility and selecting Initialize Patch. All we need for this sound is one oscillator, so we just need a layer A, and we need to change it to source square fat. And let's transpose this down 2 octaves. Now you can do this in one of 2 ways. Either change the pitch to -24 here, or the way I'm going to do it is go into the main bit here and lower the octave by -2. Now we need to add a filter, and we're going to choose a specific filter for this one and set it to low pass filter, colourful 24 decibel. Now this gives a nice little sort of like vintage sound to the oscillator. If I take that off, we get. So now what I'm going to do is open the cutoff to around about 12.52. So we're going all the way there. So that's with, without. So you just get an idea of what it's actually doing to the sound. So that's the filter section taken care of. So onto the envelope section. All we need is to change the amp section here. And we're going to change the attack, decay, and released to 0, and make sure the sustain is up full. We're not going to do anything with the filter section, and we're not going to touch anything on the mod envelope. That is it for the envelopes part. We now have this sound. Now this is where we get the signature sound for iRobot. We need to add a phaser. And what we're going to do is go to the effects section. Now I could put it on common because I'm only using one layer, but I'm just going to stick it all on layer A here. And what we're going to use is the retro phaser, which is under modulation. Oops, that's the pro phaser, don't want that. I want the retro phaser. Now, what we're going to do is turn the rate knob to 0.31. So we want a little bit more on the rate than the standard default setting. And we now get this sound. That's the type of sound we're after, is like the vocally type phrase on this. So let's add some bit of delay. I'm just going to do the normal BPM delay here. And we're going to set this to 8th dotted. And turn the wet dry slider down to about, we only want to touch, we don't want too much on this. That'll be nice. Just a sort of like hair's breadth, that's all we need. Now, Now what we need to do now is add a bit of EQ just to shape the sound a bit more. So I'm going to do a vintage 3-band EQ. Now we need to turn the gain for the lows to minus 0.8 just to take a, not 0.8, not to 8. We need to take quite a bit off the bottom end. There we go, that's better. And set the frequencies to 300. That's the mid band that we want to change. And we need to boost the mids to around about 7.4. And that's what we're all set. We don't need to touch anything on the highs. And we now have this. So that's sounding a bit closer. Now, to really get there, we need to build the sequence. So the first thing we need to do is ensure the tempo for this track is correct. Otherwise, the whole thing's not going to sound quite right. Now, I'm in the standalone version of Omnisphere doing this demo. And all you need to do, if you're in the standalone version, is if you don't have another bar underneath that shows the tempo, there'll be this little down arrow. Click on that and you get this another section. And you change this clock rate down to 91 BPM. Now I've done that with the mouse. You can double click and type in your tempo. Either way is fine. If you're in your DAW, then you will need to adjust the tempo clock within the DAW itself. So that's that bit out of the way. Now we just need to go to our page editor sequence section, turn it on, and all I'm going to do is stretch this out to 9 bars. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want the first one, the first step. This one is going to stay on its root note. I'm going to transpose this up 7 semitones. Next one is 10 semitones. Then I'm going to transpose again 7 semitones. Put that one on. Transpose to 5. Transpose to 7. Now I want 8 and 9 to be tied. So all I need to do is turn 9 off and then double click holding the shift key on your keyboard. And it'll tie those two steps together. Now I want to repeat this sequence, but I don't want this tie on the end. So all I need to do, quick way, is turn that down to 8, duplicate range, and then put it back on again. Just a little quick tip to do that way. So that's 16 step sequences in. Now these notes are going to be too long. See, they all run into each other. I don't want that because it's quite sort of like plucky sounding. So what I'm going to do is set the length to 0.635. And it's a little bit too static. So I'm just going to put a touch of humanity into this. Not much. Just a little touch, 0.05 will do. And a bit of life as well to 0.265. Now these are new settings in the sequence that came in. I think it was Omnisphere 2.6. I think these two little things. It just has a bit more human element to it, rather than being absolutely smack bang on the beat. And we get this. Just make sure I'm on 91. Yeah, then 91 BPM. And that is basically it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more reviews and tutorials and more good things from Omnisphere to come. There is something really, really extra special coming in the next few weeks. Can't say any more than that, except for let's just say it's a very, very, very unique library that's coming out for Omnisphere, created by myself, and it's a touch special and a bit close to my heart. This patch library that's coming out. So if you don't want to miss that, subscribe to the channel, ding that bell, and all there's left to say is stay creative, stay sonic, and I will catch you in the next one.